Hello, welcome to Store Stories. Every Friday I'd like to release a video of the weird stuff I've had to deal with working at a grocery store. It's another video where I'm dealing with a whole bunch of experiences instead of just one narrative. Let me say, pro tip. If your debit card has that little microchip on it that you have to insert the chip into the card reader, the best way to get that chip to work is very gently, very softly put the chip into the chip reader, and when you feel a little bit of resistance, go and just give it a little tap. Just to push it very gently into the reader. If you slam it as hard as it can into the reader, it's not going to read your card. My guess of what's going on is if you slam it into their card reader as hard as you can, it wiggles around and gets past the actual part of the card reader that reads the chip reader, and it bounces around so it doesn't read your chip, and it thinks you pulled it back out and put it back in. So if you just very gently push it in, it'll read. If you slam it in as hard as you can, it's not going to read. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is something I feel I need to say because so many people just, oh, why didn't it work? And then they it again. It's like, calm down and very gently insert the card. It was a kind of wild ride back before where they activated the chip reader on our card readers because we had the hardware to actually read chip cards, but for a long time they didn't activate the software on the hardware, so people would insert their card into the reader. Oh, I have a new microchip on my debit card. Let me stick it into the card reader. Oh, why didn't it work? Well, because the card reader wasn't set up to read the chip. You have to slide the magnetic strip, because our store is the biggest grocery store company in America, but we're always on the very last end of getting any kind of update to their software. A couple of stories of the tap pay that they finally gave us about a month or two ago. But people will insist they have hundreds of thousands of dollars on their card. Why can't you just make it work? Well, because you have to follow the instructions. And at the time, you had to stride the magnetic strip. And I thought it was a pretty major relief when they finally gave us the chip reader, because understanding that there's a lot of more security in the microchip than reading through the magnetic strip. I don't know the background on that, but I've heard there was quite a bit more security involved in the microchip. The problem is that every time people slam their card into the card reader, it didn't read. So next time they hit it, every time they ram their card into the reader, they grumble at me. Why don't you just make the magnetic strip work and then slam it again? Well, first they'll slide the magnetic strip a couple dozen times until you finally convince them that they need to just insert the chip reader. But of course they ram the card into the reader. But yeah, after the third time it doesn't read the chip because they're ramming the card, and it'll finally let you slide the magnetic strip. And they'll ask me, well, why can't you just let me do that in the first place? Well, because that's not what it's programmed to do, and you have to follow the instructions. That's kind of life. You have to do what life does. You can't just have your way because that's the way you want it to do. And a whole lot of people have grumbled at me. Well, I don't understand why I can't just use cash. This never happened when I used cash. And I told every single person, and I still tell every single person grumbling at me because they hate their microchip card, that they just want to just use cash. Why can't they just use cash? And I tell them, we accept cash. If you want to use paper cash money, we still accept paper cash money. When I tell them that we still accept cash, the customer will say they forced them to use the card. They forced them to use the cash. The customer was forced to use the cash because they made him use the card.
Or they Illuminati.
Well, I guess you're the expert on that. Yeah, you're still welcome to use cash money. There's no one forcing you that I know of to use a debit card. There was a little bit of difficult during the later end of the pandemic where we couldn't get coins in, so we had a hard time getting people their change. But you can that more or less, as far as I know, is over. We have coins again. You can use cash money if you want to use the cash money. Debit Using a debit card, using a credit card is your decision. And of course, if you pull your card out of the reader before the payment is done processing, it'll cancel the payment. And it does take quite a bit of convincing to convince people that pulling the card out of the reader before the payment was done processing didn't cancel their card. The card is still good. The payment that you paid right now was canceled. You canceled the payment. You didn't cancel your whole entire credit line because you pulled the card out. You just said that you didn't want to pay for the order that you're paying for. Oh, and more than one person. You're telling me I have to ring up on my entire groceries again because I pulled the card out of the reader before? No. You just have to pay for the goddamn order. And there's quite a lot of other people saying, well, when they slam their card into the reader, it'll say card read error, remove card. Oh, it's saying remove card, so they'll pull their card out and start walking away. Excuse me, you didn't pay for your groceries. No, it said remove the card. Yeah, the problem is if the card reader's going, that means you didn't pay for your groceries. If it has a little ding noise that when you did pay right, it's paying. And I'm not going to be too harsh on people. They hear a noise coming out of the card reader is a little bit different from someone standing there for 9 hours. So you're hearing a card reader, different noises coming out of the card reader. But when your cashier is saying, hey, you didn't pay for that when you didn't get a receipt, it's a pretty good clue that you weren't charged for it. And when the cashier is telling you, hey, you need to pay for your groceries, that's not charging you twice. That's telling you you have to pay at least once. And I've had a few men, alphas, telling me that they're a man. When I tell them that you have to be gentle when you insert the card, I'm a man, I don't do gentle. You're an idiot. You have to insert your card gently into the reader or it's not going to read. And of course, people tell them, okay, insert the card gently into the reader. Until they look at me. If I slammed it any harder, the card would snap in half. Yeah, if you're slamming it in so hard that you're about to snap your damn card in half, that might be an indication that you're doing it too hard. And if they say, hey, and someone tells you to be a little more gentle on inserting something into something, slamming it in harder is not going to make it work better. I'm pretty sure I said that. I'm having a hard time sticking to my script. Seriously. Just, is doing this any difficult and more is harder than slamming it in hard. And a little thing at the end, when I was finished writing this script out, it's like, and how many people have grumbled about they're forced to use the card reader, they're forced to use the card. This is the latest thing that people are insisting. It's the mark of the beast. Okay, I haven't been to church in a while, but I was under the impression that the mark of the beast is a tattoo on your hand or your forehead. It's not a debit card. And oh no, it's the mark of the beast. I have to live in fear because my God tells me I need to fear everything. So tired of bullshit. But people, stop being stupid. All you have to do when you're using a chip card is just very gently insert the chip into the reader. And so many people slam their card into the reader so hard that the card reader's actually starting to get worn out. On the register that works, that gets the most customers that work on the most, people will put their card in. Oh, the card didn't read. Is there anything wrong with my card? No, just gotta try it again. Oh, the card didn't read. Is there anything wrong with my card? No, just try it one more time. Oh, it's saying why I can slide the magnetic chip. Why didn't the chip reader work? Is there anything wrong with my card? No, it's just so many damn people have slammed their card in there so hard so many times that the card readers weren't out. And of course, the store services technicians won't come out and fix anything because, well, it still kind of works. still kind of works, so they're not going to fix it because they're not going to fix something that still kind of works. Just letting you know on the camera, if anybody comes through with an Iron Man helmet when a big model of Mjolnir and smashes all the card readers, I'm gonna have to find a good alibi. I don't know. Let's blame the Democrats for it. All the people, idiots, ram their card as hard as they can into it. It seems to do that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Every Friday, I'm going to release a video talking about the weird stuff I've done working with the grocery store. And anyway, have a nice day. Like and share and subscribe and check out Patreon and blog links below. And have a nice day.